Alright, let's set the scene for a moment. Imagine you're watching a movie and the hero and the stunning actress share this undeniable chemistry. You can feel the intensity of their connection building. Everything seems perfect. Until, out of nowhere, she pulls away. No explanation, no real reason, just silence. A cold distance that leaves the hero and you completely in the dark. You're sitting there, on the edge of your seat, frustrated and shouting at the screen. Why won't she just talk to him? You feel the helplessness, right? Now let me ask you, what if this movie is your life? What if she's pulled away from you and you're left wondering if this is the end of your story or just a temporary break? Here's the truth. Relationships are anything but simple. They're messy, they're complicated, and they're beautifully unpredictable. When someone pulls away, it doesn't always signal the end. In fact, sometimes it's a sign she needs space to process her emotions, reflect on what she really wants, or even test the strength of the bond between you two. I've been there myself, and trust me, I know how gut-wrenching it can feel. And I'm sure many of my friends have too. But here's the silver lining. Just because she's distant right now doesn't mean she won't come back. Through personal experiences, insights from psychology, and a touch of storytelling, I'm going to share with you 8 unmistakable signs that she's likely to return. By the end of this, you will have a much clearer picture of where things stand. So stick with me, because we're about to dive into some real talk that might just give you the answers you've been searching for. Let's get started. Point 1. She brings up old memories. Have you ever noticed how, when people are unsure about their feelings or going through a tough time in a relationship, they tend to hold on to the positive memories? It's like they latch onto those moments of joy and warmth, trying to keep that connection alive in their minds. If she starts texting you about that amazing vacation you took together, or sends you an old photo from a fun day you shared, that's not just casual conversation. It's her way of telling you, I miss this. Take my friend Chris, for example. His ex reached out to him months after they broke up. Out of nowhere, she sent him a picture of a homemade pizza they tried to make together. It had been an absolute disaster at the time. Burnt crust, undercooked toppings, the whole works. But they'd laughed for hours about how terrible it was. She texted him, "Remember this? Still the worst pizza ever." On the surface, it seemed like a random memory, but it wasn't. It was far more meaningful. It was a signal, one that psychologists refer to as shared nostalgia, and it's a powerful emotional trigger. Nostalgia isn't just about remembering the past, it's about reliving those moments of happiness and connection and wishing for that same feeling to resurface in the present. It's as if she's reaching out to you through time, trying to rekindle the bond you once had. But here's the real question. Why would she bring it up at all if she wasn't still thinking about you? Why would she want to revisit that moment of connection if she had no intention of reconnecting? When old memories resurface, it's often a sign that her feelings for you aren't as gone as they may seem. Those memories have a way of bubbling up when emotions are still alive underneath the surface. So, when she starts talking about the good times you shared, whether it's a funny story or a sentimental moment, don't dismiss it as just random chatter. It's a hint, maybe even an invitation, into something deeper. Let's take a deeper dive into what might happen when those emotions bubble up and what it means for the future of your connection. Point 2. She gets emotional. When someone pulls away, especially in relationships, it often triggers a defensive response. They shut down, put up walls, and go cold as a way to protect themselves from further hurt. It's a mechanism they use to distance their emotions, to keep from feeling vulnerable. But here's the twist. If she's suddenly showing you strong emotions like anger, sadness, or even frustration, that's actually a sign that she still cares. In fact, it might be one of the clearest signals that her feelings are far from gone. I remember a conversation I had with my friend Sarah not long ago. She shared her story about a breakup and said something that really stuck with me. She told me, "I knew I still cared about him when I saw him post a picture with his friends. I got so mad, even though I couldn't explain why. I just felt upset. At first it seemed like an overreaction, but then it hit me. This wasn't just about the photo. It was about the emotions she hadn't fully processed. Those feelings of anger and frustration weren't a sign of disconnection. Rather, they were proof that she still had feelings for him. Here's the thing. Emotions don't lie. They're raw, real, and often the truest indicator of what someone's really going through. Take Adele's iconic album, 21, for instance. It's an entire collection of raw emotion that she poured into music after a painful breakup. Sure, there was sadness, but there was also a blend of anger, longing, and even traces of love. It's complex, but it's also a reflection of deep feelings that haven't faded away. So when she lets her emotions show, whether it's anger, frustration, or even tears, it's her way of saying that the connection still matters. She hasn't moved on emotionally, even if she's physically pulled away. But here's where it gets interesting. Emotions are just the starting point. What happens when those feelings turn into actions? When she moves beyond the emotional outbursts to something more tangible, like an apology or an effort to make things right? That's when you really start to see the depth of her feelings and whether she's ready to move forward. Let's explore that next, because actions can often speak louder than words. I am sure no one taught you that, am I right? Unlocking a girl's mind isn't about playing games or pretending to be someone you're not. It's about understanding the secrets, the real secrets, that actually work no matter who you are. If you're ready to stop chasing and start attracting, I've created something tailored just for you. My course is the ultimate blueprint for understanding what women truly want and becoming the man who gets the girl every single time. Right now, exclusive spots are almost gone. Once those spots are gone, this opportunity will vanish and you'll be left watching someone else getting the girl you want. Let's continue. Point 3. What happens if an apology comes through? Have you ever noticed how rare a genuine apology can be? It's like spotting a shooting star. Beautiful, unexpected, and something that doesn't come around often. It takes a unique kind of bravery to admit that you've messed up, to put your pride aside, and to say those powerful words, "I was wrong." If she's reaching out with an apology, it's not just about easing her conscience, it's about something much deeper. It's about rebuilding a bridge that she's afraid of losing. I remember a conversation with my friend Lisa that really stayed with me. She told me, "I couldn't sleep for weeks after we broke up. It wasn't just because I missed him, though I did. It was because I hadn't apologized. I couldn't live with the regret of leaving things the way they were." That moment of vulnerability, that feeling of regret, what does it tell you? If she didn't care, why would she go through all the trouble of facing her own mistakes and reaching out? An apology isn't just a few words. It's like a key. It doesn't just unlock the door to the past, but it also opens a pathway to the future. It's an opportunity to heal, to make things right, and to start over. But let's be real. Words are easy. They can roll off the tongue without much thought. What really matters is what comes after the apology. If she's truly apologetic, she won't just stop with saying sorry. She'll back it up with real actions. It could start with small steps, like having those hard conversations you thought were lost forever. Maybe it's asking to meet up, or even just being more present in your life. It's about proving that she's willing to do the work, not just offering empty words. So when that apology comes through, take it seriously. It's not just an admission of past mistakes, it's a sign that she's invested in repairing the connection and possibly even rebuilding something stronger than before. But it's not just about what she says, it's about how she shows up afterward. Actions, as always, will tell you everything you need to know. Let's dive into that and see what happens when those actions start to speak for themselves. Point 4. The return of familiar echoes. Remember those small, seemingly insignificant things she used to do? Maybe it was a good morning text every single day, or how she always saved you the first sip of her coffee, knowing how much you loved it. These weren't just habits. These were her subtle, meaningful ways of saying, "You matter to me." They were the little rituals that kept you connected, the tiny actions that spoke louder than words. Now, imagine those familiar echoes returning. Suddenly, out of the blue, you get a random text saying, "Hope your day is going well." Or maybe she asks if you've heard that song you both used to play on repeat. It might seem like a coincidence at first, but trust me, it's not. These gestures are intentional. They carry with them a sense of familiarity and warmth. Even the smallest actions, like commenting on a show you used to binge together or referencing an inside joke that only the two of you understand, can speak volumes. It's as if she's reaching out, not just with words, but with the essence of the connection you shared. These aren't mere habits creeping back into her routine. They're like breadcrumbs, carefully placed, leading you towards something deeper. Why would she bring them back if she wasn't trying to test something? She's not doing it on a whim. She's checking the waters to see if the bond that once tied you two together is still as strong, as natural, as real as it once felt. These little rituals carry a lot of weight. They're more than just routines. They're a way of testing the emotional connection and wondering if it can be rekindled. When she starts revisiting these small, meaningful habits, it's a sign that she's still holding on to what you had. And those little echoes might be leading to something even bigger, a deeper, renewed connection that could emerge from the familiar. So when you notice these gestures, don't ignore them. They might just be the start of something new. Point 5. What if the deep talks start again? You know those late night conversations that stretch into the early hours of the morning, where you share everything from your biggest dreams to your deepest fears, those heart-to-heart talks that felt like they were opening up a door to your soul? If she's suddenly bringing those kinds of talks back, it's not just casual conversation. It's her way of trying to reconnect with you on a much deeper, more meaningful level. I remember a story from a guy I know, Alex. His ex reached out to him after a period of silence and started asking him questions like, "Do you still want to move abroad someday?" At first, Alex thought she was just curious, but the more he thought about it, the more he realized what was really going on. She was checking if their long-term goals still aligned. She was looking to see if the future she once envisioned with him was still something he was open to. This wasn't just small talk. It was an effort to gauge if they still had a shared vision, a shared path. It reminds me of something the famous philosopher Aristotle once said: "The ultimate goal of human life is to achieve eudaimonia, living a life of purpose and meaning." Essentially, Aristotle believed that humans crave connection and fulfillment through meaningful relationships. If she's revisiting those deeper questions about goals, dreams, and the future, it's a sign that she's trying to see if your connection still holds that same potential for meaning. But here's the thing, words only go so far. They can express desires, hopes, and curiosities, but it's the little gestures, the quiet moments between the conversations that show whether she's really invested. It might be in the way she listens intently to your answers, or how she responds thoughtfully, showing that she's not just asking for the sake of asking, she's really paying attention, and she's invested in the potential of what's still there. Those deep talks, when they return, aren't just a way to pass the time. They're an attempt to figure out whether you two still have something worth exploring. If she's reaching for those conversations again, it's a clear sign that she's wondering if the bond you once shared can still thrive. Point 6. What if she starts feeling the absence? Have you ever had one of those unexpected moments when you get a message from someone who's been distant for a while and it completely catches you off guard? One night, out of nowhere, my buddy received a text from his ex that said, "I miss how we used to laugh together." No explanation, no follow-up, just those few words hanging there. But in that one simple text, he knew everything he needed to know. It wasn't a flippant comment, it was a vulnerable admission. When someone begins expressing their longing, it's like a crack appears in the emotional wall they've put up. It signals that they've been reflecting on what they had and are realizing how much it truly meant to them. Psychologically speaking, moments of solitude tend to bring up these feelings. Studies have shown that people are most likely to reach out when they're alone, late at night, or when they're scrolling through old photos and memories. That's when the absence starts to feel overwhelming. If she's letting these "I miss you" moments slip through, it's not by accident. It's because she can't ignore them any longer. The space between you two is suddenly too loud, and the absence you've both been feeling is too hard to ignore. But sometimes it's not just the words that reveal her emotions. It's something even more subtle and telling. The way she looks at you. You've probably experienced this. A moment when her eyes linger a little longer than usual, or there's a certain softness in her gaze that betrays what's beneath the surface. It's like she's seeing you not just as you are in the present, but as a person she once shared something special with. Point 7. When her eyes speak louder than words. Have you ever had that moment when her eyes meet yours and you can just tell there's something there? A spark, a warmth, a glimmer of the connection you once shared? It's not something you can fake. It's a look that speaks louder than any words could. A friend of mine was convinced he had moved on from his ex until one day they bumped into each other at a coffee shop. He told me, "The way she looked at me, it was like she was seeing me for the first time again. I couldn't shake it. It was like everything came rushing back." That look wasn't just a coincidence. It was her eyes revealing what her words couldn't. Body language has this way of communicating emotions far beyond what we say aloud, and when her eyes shine with that same warmth or affection you remember, it's a sign that she's emotionally invested again. You can tell when someone's heart is still in something, and sometimes all it takes is a glance to show that it's not over. But here's the thing. In today's digital age, emotions aren't just conveyed face to face. Our screens have become a new arena for connection, and the signal she's sending online might be just as telling. If she's suddenly liking your posts more often, sending more messages, or engaging with you in ways she hasn't before, it's worth paying attention to. These digital gestures, though seemingly small, can mirror the same emotional pull as an in-person glance. She may not be able to look you in the eye every time, but those likes, comments, and messages can reveal that she's still thinking about you, still noticing you. It's as if she's using the online space to test the waters, to see if the connection still holds weight. It may not be as overt as the look in her eyes when you're face to face, but it's another way for her to show she's still emotionally present, even if she's keeping her distance. So, whether it's through a glance in person or a digital message, her actions can speak volumes about what she's really feeling. Point 8. When the digital door reopens. In today's world, social media has become the modern equivalent of leaving a window cracked open, an invitation to peek into each other's lives without fully stepping back in. If she starts showing up on your feeds again, liking your posts, unblocking you, or consistently watching your stories, don't dismiss it as coincidence. These actions might seem small, but they carry a quiet yet powerful message. I'm still curious about your world. Think about it. When she takes the time to comment on a photo with something like, "Looks like you had a great time," or replies to your story with, "Wow, this is cool," it may seem like casual interaction, but it's more than just idle chatter. Beneath those words lies an unspoken intention to test the waters, to see if there's any potential for reconnection. It's her way of checking in, without the vulnerability of an in-person confrontation. Social media offers a low-risk way to re-enter your life. It allows her to observe you from a distance, to gauge whether there's still something there worth exploring. By engaging with your posts, she's dipping her toes back into the emotional waters, seeing how you respond. And let's face it, if she wasn't still emotionally invested, she wouldn't be showing up on your feed at all. It's a digital way of opening the door just enough to peek through, testing whether the bond still exists. But the beauty of these digital moves is that they often lead to something more significant. When she stops avoiding you completely, whether online or in real life, it's a clear sign that she's ready to bridge the emotional distance that once kept you apart. These small actions often build the foundation for deeper, more meaningful interactions, whether that's a conversation that spills into the real world or a renewed effort to reconnect. So, when you notice her reappearing in your digital space, pay attention. It's a powerful, quiet step towards rebuilding something that was once lost. Here's the bottom line. When these signs start showing up, they're not just random occurrences. They're meaningful signals that emotions haven't faded and that there's an openness to something more. But before you rush into anything, pause for a moment and ask yourself, what do you truly want? It's easy to get swept up in the excitement of a possible reconnection, but it's crucial to reflect. Is this about reigniting a love that still has potential, or are you holding on to something that no longer serves you? Now listen, you've already heard it all before. Be nice, just wait, it will happen naturally. But that's not how the world works. If you're tired of guessing, tired of chasing, and tired of losing, it's time to change the game. Inside my course, you'll find the secrets you need to get the girl you've always wanted, without begging, without games, and without wasting another second. This is your chance. Right now, click the link in the description. Only few spots remain. Once they're gone, it's over. So stop waiting. Take action now, join today, and I'll show you how to take control of your life, your relationships, and your future. Don't wait for life to happen to you. Take the reins. You're one step away from everything you've ever wanted. If you found this video helpful, be sure to subscribe and share your thoughts in the comments. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.